Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, November the 10th, and this video is to supplement the activity we've called EM-4, which is spinning the web of life. So remember, all organisms, including ourselves, need access to energy on a regular basis in order to maintain this very organized structure. If we don't have energy, we can't maintain our bodies. And eventually we lose that battle and we can't provide energy efficient enough. Our bodies start to fail, we die, and they decompose back into basic elements because it requires less energy. So this activity is really putting the focus on us as humans and what role we play in the flow of energy. Is it nature over here and humans over here? Is it nature here and humans here? Is it nature here and humans down here? How do we fit into the picture? And that's sort of what we're going to do with this activity. So I'm going to walk you through the activity and then at the very end sort of leave you to finish it up. But you'll see what I mean as we go here. So let me share my screen. So here's Google Classroom. We're going to open up EM-4, Spinning the Web of Life activity. There's a Google Doc that you can open. Okay. Just trying to get this to move up a little bit. There we go. All right, beautiful. So you can see it starts right here with this picture of a cow and it says a recipe for 1 pound of beef. If you look at that recipe, there's an awful lot of resources that have to go into producing just 1 pound of beef. I mean, 13 pounds of forage, 3 pounds of grain, 8 square yards of farmland, 3 ounces of nitrogen, antibiotics, hormones, 1,300 gallons of water. A lot of resources go into producing food. And so we're going to look at what types of resources have to go in to provide us with our daily meal. So let's read together here this opening paragraph. It says, the next time you eat a hamburger, think about what it takes to make a pound of beef. You have already explored how matter cycles through various communities. That we've not done yet on purpose. We will get to cycling of matter in a day or two. And you should be aware that energy is stored in matter. That you should know, it's in the bonds of the matter. When you eat various forms of matter, some of that energy is transformed. This transformed energy becomes available to you so that you can carry out the daily activities of life and the distinctive activities that make you who you are. Not all foods contain the same amount of energy and not all organisms require the same amount of energy to live. So why does it take so much energy to make 1 pound of beef? In terms of energy and matter, what is the difference between eating plants and eating animals? Let's examine the larger picture of matter and energy in your world. By relating one day's food intake to the plants and animals from which it came, you can explore how the energy that is stored in matter flows through your community and fuels the activities of its organisms. For this activity, you will eventually need 5 colored pencils, 5 colored markers, 5 colored crayons, but you don't need them right away. So we go down to step 1. Step 1 is, okay, following the steps outlined below, generate a food web, which is a visual diagram of the interactions of matter and the consequences of flow of energy. So first step, create your own menu for one day, including snacks as well as meals. Choose your favorites. So it's your birthday, it's your day. You get to pick each meal all day long. What would be your ideal breakfast? What would be your ideal lunch? What would be your ideal dinner? And what would you like for a snack? Please make these complete meals, including drinks. The more detailed you are, the easier it will be to make the final product at the end. So for example, I might go in and say for lunch, I want to have a tuna salad sandwich. I'm just making something up off the top of my head right now. An apple, a yogurt, and for me, a Diet Coke, which is terrible. So that might be my ideal lunch for the day. You'll do the same for breakfast, you'll do the same for dinner and for snack. So you will want to pause this video and go ahead and fill in that chart. And when you've completed that chart, you will want to resume the video. Welcome back. So you should have your menu now. So what we're going to do is take all the food items from breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, and we're going to put them into this first column. I've already put cake in as an example, but I'm going to take all the items from my first column. So say for breakfast, I had eggs, and I had bacon, and I had toast, and I had orange juice. And then for lunch, I had the tuna salad sandwich. I had the apple. I had the yogurt. And you will keep filling all these in. You can create more boxes, more lines if you need them. So again, pause the video and fill in that first column using every food item from this chart up above. If you repeated something for a meal, you'd only need to list it once. If you had an apple for lunch and an apple for a snack, you only need to list the apple once. So go ahead and pause me and come back in just a few moments when you've got that filled in. Welcome back. So now we're going to break these down. So we want to break this down into ingredients and sources. So you can see with cake, an example is cake is made with oil, flour, sugar, butter, eggs, milk. And then you need to identify the actual real sources. So oil, maybe I use corn oil. So corn would be the source of the oil. Flour comes from wheat. So wheat is the source. Sugar comes from either sugar beets or sugar cane. So I'm guessing being in Michigan, we have a lot of sugar beets. That might be our source. Butter and milk, of course, come from cows. And eggs come from chickens. So I don't expect to be an expert on these, but with the internet, you should be able to look up pretty easily what the key ingredients are. You don't have to have every single ingredient, but the main ingredients for each thing. So just do a couple of real quick ones. So eggs is pretty simple. Eggs, the ingredients is eggs. And of course, the source of an egg is a chicken in most cases. Let's say somewhere around here I had pizza. Well, pizza requires some type of flour to make the dough. It requires tomatoes to make the sauce. Maybe you also want to include some basil and oregano because those are, I know, some favorite spices in there. I need cheese. And let's say that I had pepperoni on the pizza. And if you need to, you can go into more than one box. I could just drop this down in here if that works better for you. And so then again, I'd want to break these down. Well, flour comes from wheat. Tomatoes, of course, come from tomatoes. No surprise there. Basil comes from the basil plant. Oregano comes from the oregano plant. Cheese, of course, comes from cow's milk usually. Sometimes it can be sheep's or goats. Pepperoni, I'd have to look that one back up. I believe it's pork-based. So that would be pig. Maybe both pork and beef. And then you'd have pig and cow. So anyway, you're going to break it down. And again, the more details you can break this down into, the better your product's going to be. So ideally, you've got at least 10 items over here, and then you've got multiple items in these columns. So again, go ahead and pause me, complete this step, and then come back when you're ready to go forward. Welcome back again. So now we're going to go back up here. So I know bacon comes from a pig. I'm just going to add that one in. So I've got some animals to work with. Tuna comes from a tuna fish. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take into this middle column right here, this middle column, I am going to add any animals I have in this far column here. So anything from this column, I'll just highlight it so we can follow it more easily. This is in the way. So let me highlight that so we can follow it more easily. So we're going to take everything from this column. Any animal from this column we are going to put into this column. Let's make that say green. So I'll take every animal that's in the yellow column, every animal that's in the yellow column, and put it in the green column. I've already got cow in there as an example. Well, if I go up here, I got a chicken, I got a pig, I got a tuna. So I'm going to put those into my columns. That's going to vary from person to person. Some of you might have 4 like I have. Some of you might have just 1 or 2. Possibly some of you have none. Just depends on what your particular diet is and your favorite foods are. Once you've filled that in, you're then going to, on the left side, list any animals that eat a chicken or a pig or a tuna. So pig was one we were talking about in class today. And we know that bobcats will eat them. Bears will eat them. Wolves will eat them. I try to come up with at least 3. They also said that golden eagles, I'm assuming that must be just the young pigs, but any type of animal that eats them, you would put in. And over here, anything that that animal would eat. All right, so I'd have to look up tuna and find out what fish tuna like to feed off of. I'd also have to look up what eats a tuna. Those should be pretty easy to Google and find. Pigs we know are going to eat corn. They'll eat roots. And they're omnivores. They'll eat just about anything. Again, try to come up with 3 or 4 things. So again, the more details that you have, the better your product's going to be at the end. So for each animal you have, 3 or 4 things that eat it, and then 3 or 4 things that animal eats. What eats the pig to the left, or the tuna or the chicken, what the chicken, the pig, the tuna, or the cow eats to the right. Once again, pause me and come on back when you've got that chart completed. Very good. Welcome back again. So now I'm going to take everything that's in the yellow, everything that's in the green, and I'm going to highlight another color so we can just make it easy to reference. Oh, let's just say that it's blue. So I'm going to take everything in the yellow box, everything in the blue boxes, and everything in the green boxes, and I'm going to use that to create a food web. So every plant, every animal that you have in the yellow, blue, and green areas are going to go into creating a food web. So you're going to need a piece of paper. I'm going to step away from the screen just for a moment. Ideally, it's 11 by 14 or 11 by 14, a longer piece of paper. Maybe you will have one at home. It's okay if it's just a regular sheet of paper. It can even be lined paper. It's okay. So you're going to take this piece of paper. I'm going to try to tilt my screen so maybe you can see what I'm doing. And you are going to fold it accordion style. So I'm going to fold it over about 1/5, crease it. Then I'm going to flip it the other way. And I'm going to fold it a second time. Then I'm going to flip it back the other way, fold it a 3rd time. And I'm going to flip it back one more time and fold it a 4th time. Doesn't matter if there's a little overhang, that's perfectly fine. Make a nice firm crease. And then what you should end up having is a sheet of paper that's got these sections. Let me come out from sharing for a moment. And so you'll end up with this, and you can see you've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. You've got 5 sections. You're going to use that to create a food web. This food web, when you're done, will be very complex and it will be very messy looking because you'll have lines and arrows all over the place and lots of different organisms. This is where you'll need the 5 different colored pens, pencils, crayons, markers, whatever you can get your hands on to. I'm going to step away one more time to grab another document. So you're going to take and put all your plants, of course, at the bottom of your food chain because that's going to be your producers. Only reason I'm showing you this is to spread the different plants out because you're going to need room to draw arrows. So you can see I've got carrots, potatoes, and grass, and I've left some space so I can draw arrows in between if I need to. And then the next level, you'll do your primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers. You will only use 3 or 4 sections to start with. Eventually, you will do a 5th section. The directions will tell you when. So by the time you're done, you will have lots of organisms. You'll have arrows going all over the place, and you should have a good picture of what's happening. Following the completion of that document, let me share again. So here's the directions right here. Letter F, look at all the bullets. It tells you what to do. Here's letter G, Read letter G, it has you add more things to your food web. And then 2A and 2B have you expand your food web. And then 3 brings in the 5th level. So make sure you're following all of these directions that are on page 3. That will help you create a very complex food web. Right now, mine's basically a blank sheet of paper. When you've completed the food web, you are going to answer these questions based on the activity. All I need you to submit through Google Classroom is a photo of your finished web. And again, it's okay if it's on 8.5 by 11 or lined paper. And a photo of these 3 questions. I do not need photos of all the charts. So just the web and just this last page here, those are the things that you should submit. All right. For 5th and 6th, I think your due date was today. I will give you another couple days to get that done. So please get it done by the end of the week for this activity. That should help you get through this activity. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.